gonna slight bend in the elbows, that's it. So while you have the slight bend in the elbows, this is where you can do glances over your right and left shoulder, because maybe that guy is not alone, right? So now you're in control for sure, right? So the decision we made at this point, do you take it to the next level, or do you just calm the situation down? There you go, good job. Let's go, bud.
Whoa,
let's go.
sorry,
Let's go. Good. Lock it in, strike, so boom, that's it. So what we want to be cautious of is where we grasp the slide with our support hand. So if we induce a double feed like we just did, it's not a big deal, but the problem is if you choose to use this gun in a lethal context, it's not going to work for you. So to prevent that from happening, we tap the bottom of the magazine to ensure that it's seated properly. And then by bringing the gun up into our rough eye line, like not in front of your face obviously, but somewhere's in this area, we manipulate the slide with our support hand. When we rack the action, it's with aggression, but we don't want to cover the ejection port. If we rack the action here, we're going to induce a stoppage like so.
Yeah, because last time you do it up here, and it
clears it. So it clears the ejection port. So. Yeah. So either here or here, but the idea is that we want to clear that ejection port. So tap, rack, good. We know this gun is functioning.
Nice and quick.
That's it. And then to be 100% certain that press check, we can see brass in the chamber. All right. If we needed to, we could take a well-aimed shot. So when we tap rack with a slight bend in the elbows, what this affords us is to protect the gun. So this is a bit of a retention component. So as we're moving, we can literally be protecting the gun. That way we're not moving at full extension and then potentially getting blindsided by somebody that we don't see. Right? So a little bend in the elbows, head on a swivel. If you needed to present the gun in a lethal context, then you can do that. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it again.
So you can do what you call like a half slide just to see if there's brass in there?
Yeah, you can. So it's called a press check. In the sense of a dynamic situation where there's stress and a level of duress involved, you may not have the time or opportunity to do a press check, right? So by simply tapping the magazine, bottom of the magazine, and racking the action, it's gross motor skills that you can do under stress. So in this zone, we call workspace, in this zone here, so we're not too low and we lose sight of what's going on up here, and we're not too high where it's in our way, right? So we don't want it to be in our eye vision, so we can see what's going on. So somewhere's around here is ideal. So you can tap, rack. If a round flies out of the chamber, we know this gun is functioning, right? So we're at a good position. And again, should it not, or if the slide locks to the rear, well, no problem. Now you have a club and you can make them pay. All right, let's try it again. And then a little bend in the elbows, good. And then head on a swivel, you're looking for this guy's buddy, that's it. And then if you want, like right now, you've got your finger on the trigger, which is not wrong given the context of the situation. But if you can get comfortable running your finger along the frame of the gun, yeah, just like so. Why that's important is the universal reaction time in all human beings, or the average human being, is 0.25 of a second. So that means 2.5 of a second is going to take you to register what's going on and make a decision. Once you've made that decision, there's another 2.5 or 0.25 of a second to then act on that decision. So if that 0.25 of a second is you taking a shot, the difference is the finger running on the frame to the trigger could take arguably 0.25 of a second. So why that's important is if your finger is on the trigger and you're going through that OODA loop process of making a decision, you may or may not inadvertently fire a round that you didn't intend to shoot.
So this is almost like that gives you a chance to think before.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Let's go, bud. Please, Wallet, let's go. Come on. Come on, bud. Let's go. Let's go.
Take it easy.
Let's go. Good. So what do you got? He's closing the distance? Exactly. So you strike. Everybody. Boom. That's it. You're still in the fight. So you got the magazine is dislodged, but you're aware of what it is. Good.
Yeah.
Close the distance. Qualify.
Oh, hey,
come on,
hey,
let's go. Wallet. Let's go. Go, buddy. Give me your wallet.
Whoa,
Let's go,
okay,
man.
yeah.
Come on. Go. Good. Tap, tap. 2 hands on one. Yep, there you go. Good. Elbows in. Good. Good. Perfect. One more time. Drop. So pivot. When you get the elbow, pivot, and then punch. So what's because you're strong and athletic, you're peeling it off of me, and so you're peeling me away from the gun. But a bigger, stronger, heavier dude, you might not have that success. So once you're in here, pivot, and then on the wrist, punch. Okay. Go, bud.
Hey, man, just take
Forward.
it.
Come on, man. Push his elbow towards the midsection, towards my midsection. Yes, there you go. You know he's gonna turn. As he does, tap, wrap. Let's see, perfect.